Hiya, pal.
Deck the halls with Marv and Harry.
Yes!
Make their Christmas not so merry. Give them bricks and give them riches. One more Christmas in the trenches. Toss some paint cans down to greet them. Send the toolbox down to meet them. Serve the nails for Christmas dinner. Kevin is declared the winner.
May I do the thinking, please?
Home Alone 2, Lost in New York.
Welcome to the 2023 edition of the 13 Reviews of Christmas. I am Dylan Gable, and today I'm talking about Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. Released in 1992. The film is written by John Hughes and once again directed by Chris Columbus, and it tells the story of Kevin McAllister, who is going through the regular shenanigans with his family on Christmas. And this time they're taking a trip to Miami. And when they think they didn't forget Kevin, Kevin ends up getting separated and ends up in New York City, where all the shenanigans ensue. Okay, so what do I think of Home Alone 2? Well, despite being literally a carbon copy of the first film, I think this movie successfully recaptures the magic of the first film. I love Home Alone 2. It is another film that I watch every year, along with Die Hard, Bad Santa, and the first Home Alone. Yes, this movie I think it's a great film. It's a really good sequel. It really gets you into the Christmas spirit. It's funny. Macaulay Culkin once again gives a charming performance, just like everyone else does. Plus, this movie benefits from having Tim Curry, literally one of the living legends of all time. Yes, this movie is awesome. It's a movie that I like. It's one of the few movies with Rob Schneider in it that I like. So there's that. Yes. So yeah, let's talk Home Alone 2. Yes, Macaulay Culkin is back as Kevin McAllister, and yes, he is just as charming and likable as he was in the first film. Yes, this movie does repeat everything that he did in the first movie, but it works. It's done perfectly well. Chris Columbus did a great job at directing, and John Hughes did a really good job at writing. The comedy really works. The traps, I actually like the traps more in this one than the first one. These traps are a lot more violent, which is awesome. There are several times where they actually should have died, but the fact that they don't, but you still feel their pain, it still feels like they feel pain. Like, it is funny. My favorite trap is by far the one where Marv gets Daniel Stern is Marv, right? Yeah. Where he gets electrocuted. That shit was funny, especially when you see his skull. Really good stuff. There's even a lot of great dialogue driven comedy in this film. Like, the one line that always gets a major laugh out of me is when Kevin says, Uncle Frank said that if I ever saw him butt naked, I'd never feel like a real man. That shit always gets me every fucking time. That is a great line, and it's very well delivered. And yes, there's some great gags, like the angels with dirty souls, angels with filthy souls. I think, yeah, filthy. That gag is just as good here. It's funny with those hotel fucking staff. That shit was great. You even get a Donald Trump cameo in here. If you like Donald Trump, you'll definitely like the scene that he has in this film. Fun fact, Donald Trump owned that hotel that the movie takes place in, so there's that. What else is there to say? Oh yeah, there's some really good cinematography here. The editing is also great. Despite the fact that this is the longest Home Alone movie, clocking in at exactly 2 hours, this movie never felt long. This movie feels about as long as the first movie was. So, yes, very good pacing all around. What else did I like about Home Alone 2? Yeah, I already mentioned the traps. I mentioned some of the humor. This movie's got a good Christmassy soundtrack, so there's that. They really made New York look like New York, so there's that. There's parts that just looks all dirty and grimy. It even shows prostitutes. That was definitely different for a children's film. What else is there? Oh yeah, and all the Christmassy stuff just looks absolutely nice. There's a nice shot of the World Trade Center. That was fucking cool. Um, I thought, yeah, Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern, they once again give awesome performances. I thought it was terrific. They really did their parts extremely well. If I had any issues with Home Alone 2, I would say this movie felt a little watered down. Like, the violence is they up the violence, that's for sure, but there's one thing that they watered down, and that was the more adult stuff. Like, you don't see Kevin looking at Playboy mags. They don't even swear as much in this movie. Like yeah, in the first movie they'd be saying stuff like shit and ass and damn and stuff like that. In this movie they just say like ass like once. That's it. I wish this movie would have had a little bit more of an edge to it like the first movie did. It's kind of like a Ghostbusters 2 situation where like they definitely watered it down compared to the first film, but in all honesty, it's just a nitpick just because I really like this movie just as much as the first one. I think it's just as good. Despite being a carbon copy, they just successfully recaptured the magic, and that's all that matters. Home Alone 2 is a great Christmas classic that everybody should see if you somehow haven't seen it. I think it's a great time. I am absolutely giving Home Alone 2 Lost in New York an A. So what'd you think of Home Alone 2? Comment below, let me know. And if you like my stuff, you can like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.